I'm just like you, you're just like me. We can't stop watching these movies. Is it a curse? No, it's a dream come true. Yes, I'm a Barbie girl like you.
Hey everybody, I'm Brianna,
And I'm Kevin.
and you're listening to Barbie, the Princess and the Podcast, a chronological deep dive into the fever dream that is the Barbie cinematic universe. And this show is not made for kids, despite what you might think from the movies we cover. Today, we are diving into the second Mycene movie, Masquerade Madness.
Can you call this one a movie? It's less than 30 minutes. This is
Oh,
about
okay, you're right.
a kind of like a double length TV cartoon episode.
Yeah, it is more of an episode for sure.
Yeah, we get all the ranges with the Mycene movies. The one that we covered last month, Jammin in Jamaica, is kind of like middle of the road. It's like 44 minutes. This
Mhm,
one
mhm.
is under 30 minutes, and then later on we'll cover the last Mycene movie, and that one is the one and only full length Mycene movie.
It's full-length feature film.
Yeah, and unlike Jammin in Jamaica, which I remembered a lot of watching, I did not remember much of anything about this movie.
Me
I
either.
didn't even remember
Yeah.
River shaved. His
Yeah,
his
his
goatee
arrow
is
is
it's
gone.
gone, completely gone.
I know.
I
I almost didn't recognize him.
yeah, he looks just like Ellis. There were multiple times
I
watching
know.
this where I thought it was River slash Ellis doing something, and it was actually the other person.
Yeah,
Which is
I know, me
which is
too.
sad that River's defining characteristic that set him apart from other characters was literally his goatee.
That's that's it.
And I guess it
Yep.
was also that in Jammin' in Jamaica, he had a much more prominent role being,
Oh yeah, he was
the front man of
barely.
Urban Desire. He was barely in this movie. Hudson was way more
Yeah.
in this movie, and Hudson was barely in the last one.
I guess they traded off. They
Yeah.
had to balance it out.
I mean, it was hard enough keeping up with all the characters in Jammin' in Jamaica, and with how short Masquerade Madness is, it'd be really hard if everybody got the same amount of screen time.
True. Yeah, and at least we had been introduced to the characters before in Jammin' in Jamaica, so this time around I knew who they were for the most part, except
Yeah.
for fucking River and
Ellis.
Ellis. They
Yeah.
look like identical.
Yeah, because Hudson and Sutton are very, very different. And then you just have
Yeah.
River and Ellis who look now basically identical.
Yeah. Like they should have kept his little arrow goatee because that's the only way I could tell who's who.
Yeah. And
Are they
it's
like
it's a great
twins?
fashion choice. I think his arrow goatee is pretty incredible.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
so sad. I was so sad to see it gone.
that was unfortunate. So
Mhm.
this movie is called Masquerade Madness, and watching through this, I questioned why it was called Masquerade Madness. So there's a couple of different things that could be constituted as masquerade, I guess. So the two main plot points are one, they're trying to throw a party, a surprise party for Chelsea, and they also have
Her
this
sweet
like
16.
her sweet 16, yeah, biggest party of your life, sweet 16. And then
Yeah,
they also
seriously.
have this school like community service type of like project almost with the animal
Yeah.
shelter. And so they're doing like dress up both for the people on the runway as well as for the animals, but neither of these constituted a masquerade. Like on the cover, they're shown with like the traditional like masquerade masks where it's just kind of the eye mask on the stick. That never really came up at all, if I'm not mistaken, in the movie.
No, I don't think so either. Like, they all had costumes by the end of the
Right.
movie, but it
Yeah.
wasn't like a masquerade.
Yeah. And so as I was watching the when they do the final like runway event with the animals and they weren't in masquerade, I was like, oh, okay. So when we get to Chelsea's party, then it's going to be a masquerade
Yeah.
party. And it just wasn't. There no people weren't even in costumes. It was just like it was just a normal party.
Wait,
So
were Barbie and Co still in costume, or did they change?
Well, they might have been. They might have
I
been.
thought they were still in costume,
They were. It wasn't a
everybody else wasn't.
masquerade. Yeah. So by the
Yeah,
end
the
of watching
title's
this movie,
misleading.
yeah, I was really confused why they called it Masquerade Madness.
Yeah, but maybe I guess Masquerade Madness sounds better than community show, like community service fashion show plus Chelsea's Sweet 16 like birthday blowout.
I mean, I don't know. They could have done. I guess it just wasn't a big enough part of. It was a big part of the story. I mean, it was like trying to keep the secret from her. Like, couldn't.
Yeah.
I mean, they've featured birthdays in more recent Barbie movie titles. Like, I feel like
Oh
they could
yeah,
have named
Chelsea
it
and the
like
Lost
Chelsea's.
Birthday.
Yeah. Oh man, that would have been
Oh,
confusing.
again Chelsea.
Yeah,
Whoa.
it's her
Oh,
birthday
different
again. Yeah, I
Chelsea.
just realized that. But yeah, they could have named it like Chelsea's Sweet 16 Blowout or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like that would have been a more apt title for this. But it is what it is. We get Masquerade Madness. The whole crew is back.
Masquerade Madness minus the Masquerade.
Minus the Masquerade. Madness, yeah. There was a
in a
little
way,
bit of madness.
Light madness.
Yeah, a little bit of madness.
So
we have the whole crew coming back except for Tyson and and Jai.
Tyson.
They got introduced in Jammin in Jamaica, and then they were removed. No more of them. But the rest of the crew is here.
And so this threw me off, but so I have the DVD version of Masquerade Madness, and on the title screen, like I guess the title menu, where you go to press the movie, play the movie, there's a picture of all the girls, and then there's an extra girl. And I was like, who's this? She's like dressed like she's like a roller derby girl. That's her costume. She's like wearing roller skates and stuff, and she has kind of like long strawberry blonde hair. And I was like, who are you? She's like barely in, like she's part of the fashion show, but I don't think she has any speaking lines. So I went back and looked at my DVD case, and it said, you know, all the names of the people: Delancey, Madison, yada yada yada, and Kenzie.
Oh my god, now I see that too. Yeah, it is on there.
But she has no lines. She was hardly in it.
What? I don't even know who this is. I'm gonna have to look this up. What?
Yeah, look for the roller derby girl. She looks kind of like a cross between Chelsea and Barbie. I thought she was Chelsea at first, but
well, it definitely says something when I search up My Scene Masquerade Madness Kenzie, not a single thing comes from the movie itself. It's all the doll.
Yeah, so she's just there to sell another doll.
Did they just forget to put her in there?
Add this new character in
because
like, oh, whoops.
she's not on the cover, and she's not like her name is on the cover, but she's not featured on the cover. She's not featured on the back either.
No.
Is that literally
DVD
just
menu.
to sell a doll?
Oh, I'm
to have
sure
a name on there just to sell another doll?
Yeah.
But then who buys the Kenzie doll when she's not in the movie whatsoever?
Oh.
What?
Yeah, poor Kenzie doesn't
Here
even
I
have
was
a speaking role.
Thinking what Tyson and Jai were very odd choices for being featured as names on the cover of Jammin in Jamaica. Now we get Kenzie, who doesn't even have really a line at all. What?
Yeah. It's even worse. At least Tyson and Jai had speaking roles.
Yeah, that's weird.
Wow. Yeah. So we get Kenzie, who, you know, is just there from time to time. I think mostly she's just in the
she's on the wiki.
Show.
We'll see more for apparently in My Scene Goes Hollywood, as well as some of the webisodes.
Okay. Does she have a dad who has a limo too?
Probably. Her astrological sign is Cancer.
Oh my god, such a Cancer.
Yeah. She loves to hang out at the mall. She loves accessories, especially
Classic.
colorful bags and handbags. Yeah, there's
Is that
not
it?
a whole lot here. I think we're gonna learn more about her as we go along. But
So this
because
was just
she's,
her brief introduction.
yeah, well, I guess if you're watching it in specifically chronological order for my scene, maybe she appeared in one of the webisodes before. For us, we're gonna be watching the
Oh,
webisodes at the end because they went from 2002 to like 2008, so we're kind of covering it at the end to wrap up my scene. But they were running
yeah.
concurrent with these movies, so I guess she was featured there.
I
And
hope
then,
so. I hope they didn't just throw her in there, a random
but
new
that still
character
doesn't make
in.
any sense why she was named on the cover and
Yeah.
subsequently is not featured whatsoever in the movie.
No, we don't even know her name in the movie. Like just watching it. Like who is she?
Weird. Yeah. I didn't even notice it.
Yeah, that's how little she's in it. There's a new like guy character named Brett, and he's in there more than she is.
Yeah,
But he's
Brett
not
is in
named
there
on the
more.
cover.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Wild.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna chalk it up to them just straight up forgetting that she wasn't in this movie.
Yeah.
Like they're like, well,
She's
we
in
have
there, right? Oh
she's in the
yeah,
webisodes
totally.
and we have a doll line of her. She's in the movie, right? I'm like, yeah. She's in there. She's in there.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
all right. Put her name on the cover.
We're
And then
good,
they
we're
look at the
good.
cover and like, wait a
Get it
minute,
out there.
she's not in the art. Wait, what? I'm like, well, we're shipping it.
Hmm.
Just the
Too
dolls are
late.
coming out. We gotta send this out.
Yeah,
The My Scene universe is wild.
it really is. It's madness.
It is madness. It's more madness than this movie is.
Seriously.
But just like looking at stuff on the wiki, we'll probably cover that more as kind of like a wrap up when we get to the webisodes, because I feel like that might get into more of like character stuff. But these characters have like a lot of random weird like traits and just things that were noted enough that they got onto the wiki,
Hmm.
which is interesting.
Very curious to hear more.
Yeah. All right. Why don't we actually get into this movie? Get into
Yes, yes.
Masquerade Madness.
We open up in like Madison's dad's fancy ass loft. Like
Yeah. So like, is that just like his vacation loft or?
it's one of his many lofts.
Yeah. I mean, Madison was the one that her dad has the limo, right?
Yeah, yeah, she's hella rich.
Yeah. Mega loaded.
Uh-huh. Yeah, this
Yeah.
place is huge, and so they decide to have to throw Chelsea's Sweet 16 at Madison's dad's place because
Yeah. And it was only
it's really
because,
nice.
was it Noli was doing some meditating to implant the thought into Madison's dad's brain to allow them to use the loft for the party.
Is that why they did it?
That's what she was doing,
Okay.
right?
Wow, wow, it's all Noli.
Yeah.
She's probably into
She
astrology.
was concentrating on sending positive energy to Madison's dad so that he'll say that we can have Chelsea's surprise party here in the loft.
Well, it worked.
It worked. Noli's talented.
Yeah, she is. She is multi-talented. She's
Yeah.
got a lot going on.
Yeah. So, they don't even need to pay for a venue. They just have this mega fancy loft. I mean, I
What's
think they're
that
all
like?
pretty rich.
Oh yeah, for sure. The animation in this one is a little different from Jammin'
Yeah.
Jamaica.
I couldn't put my finger on it, but as I was watching, I'm like, this looks like worse. I don't know. But like
Yeah, but I
not
don't
in
know
like a super
why.
noticeable way. To me, it felt like characters were just less expressive.
Yeah,
Like
maybe that was it.
I felt like they had a lot more, like their expressions felt a lot more blank. I don't know. They just
And Jammin'
weren't
in
as
Jamaica was
expressive.
pretty blank, but
Yeah.
they got even more vacant this time.
Yeah, because it wasn't so noticeable that you were watching it and like, wow, this is like noticeably more awful than Jammin' in Jamaica. It was more so just like this feels a little off. Like I don't know.
Yeah, yeah,
But
something's different.
I don't know how different they would be because they released within 2 weeks of each other.
Yeah,
So
maybe
you
it's
would
more of the
think that
webisode style.
maybe because they had to have been in development at the same time
Oh, yeah.
for them to be released literally within 2 weeks of each other.
Mhm,
So yeah, but I noticed that too. The animation just felt a little different.
mhm.
I mean, it still has the same style of the 2D characters with like the weird photorealistic but not photorealistic backgrounds.
Uh-huh, classic.
That's still there. We also get an introduction early on that Delancey is horrible at keeping secrets and not just
Oh,
bad as in like it
yes.
slips out, like she is actively like try it feels like she's actively trying to let these secrets out.
Yeah, you think
To the
she actually wants to tell
yeah,
people?
because we're trying to keep Chelsea's Sweet 16 party a secret, but like every time
Mhm.
she goes up to Chelsea, it's like, "Hey, we're doing your Sweet 16 party." It's like,
Like, "Shut up,
yeah, like
Delancey!"
are you okay? Like
Yeah, like,
there
she
was no
cannot,
point.
she physically can't keep it
Like
in.
it wasn't like she was backed into a corner. I was like, "Oh, do you guys want to do something this weekend?" And it's like, "Oh, no, we're busy. We're doing this thing." And then you have to like explain it away. It was just like
Yeah,
normal
yeah.
conversation and she would just blurt it out.
It's like literally whenever she saw Chelsea, she'd be like, "Oh, it's your
Birthday,
sweet
birthday.
16. Blah, 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 blah,
Are you going to make it?
ah, it's happening."
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So that's her thing. This whole movie
The
is
whole
her just
movie.
like trying to keep it a secret and like just word vomiting all the time.
Yep. Yeah, she got a little bit less cool in this movie
I know.
because
I
in
I was
Jammin' and
just like, what
Jamaica, you know,
happened?
super sporty and independent, and then here her entire character is literally just I cannot keep a secret.
Yeah, that's it. Like nothing. Um, yeah, I wasn't as into Delancey's character this time around.
I mean, there's only so much you could
Unfortunate.
do in 23 minutes. The characters become kind of one note.
Yeah. But in Jammin' in Jamaica, I feel like we knew like nothing about Chelsea except that she was into the valet guy, Tyson, of course.
Yep.
Um, but this time she gets a starring role. It's all about Chelsea and her Sweet 16
Yep.
and the fact that she sucks at math, which I
Mm-hmm.
really related to as someone who also sucks at math. Yeah, so that's kind of like the focus about, and it's about her fashion too. Like she's
Yeah.
making the
I liked
costumes.
her arc throughout
Me
this. I
too.
mean, I don't know if I fully bought the like, oh, I cannot tell my friends this. Like, I don't
Yeah, like
know.
come on.
Maybe it depends on the friend group, I guess, but I don't know. I was never very like quiet about my like successes and failures in school. It was more of like, oh, I
Oh
did really
yeah.
good on this, or like jokingly, like, wow, I'm terrible at this. Like,
Yeah, you own it.
yeah, yeah. So I don't know if I bought that part of it because she like
Mhm.
dug herself into a hole because of it, but I liked her arc
Yeah,
throughout. I
it
think.
felt, I agree. I enjoyed her arc, but I felt like the whole she can't tell her friends was just put in there so that there would be conflict. It was the whole like the only conflict is the lack of communication.
Right, and that was the only way that you could kind of like insert Hudson into it and to try and get that like other
Yeah.
angle of like, oh, are you guys going out? Like,
Yeah.
because if they
Cuz
knew, so the thing like Hudson is teaching her how to do math. He's her tutor. And so if they knew, then it's just like, oh, Hudson's tutoring you in math. Okay, cool, whatever.
yeah, I also thought it
But
was hilarious that like they saw her and Hudson together and immediately they're like you must be dating because men and women can't possibly be friends or have any other
no.
kind of connection other than a relationship. They're
Speaking
just
of
like,
that,
gotta be dating."
apparently, throughout the entire My Scene universe, Kenzie is the only one who was not set up with anybody.
Wow, good for
We'll
her.
confirm that when we get to the end of this whole thing. But I mean, that's that's the length that we go to here with my scene, that there was literally one character that hasn't gotten like paired with with somebody else.
And probably the only reason is because she doesn't have a speaking role.
Yeah. Well, we'll see about My Scene Goes Hollywood,
Yeah, true,
um
true.
but yeah, they all have to be together, you know.
Yep, yep.
You can't just hang
Um,
out. It's just not
no,
possible.
can't just be friends. Gotta be
Yeah.
dating.
Yep. And then of course, because she can't tell them that she sucks at math and that Hudson is tutoring her. There was a line basically where she was like, it was easier to tell them that we're dating than to tell them that I'm bad at math and that you're tutoring me. I'm like,
Oh,
how in the world is that easier?
yeah, how is that easier? It's so complicated. And then it's made more complicated because Delancey is trying not to tell Chelsea about the birthday thing,
Yep.
and then they make this whole convoluted thing where oh my god, Delancey, this is so stupid. Delancey says, like, to cover for the fact that
Oh yeah. Yeah.
she says she has a crush on Hudson.
Yeah, well, it was it
And
was it was somebody else, right? Like Delancey. Well, because so we're jumping
yeah,
around a little bit here, but
I
like
know.
there was they went out to the mall and they were just like shopping. I don't even remember what the impetus for that was. Like they kind of just went to the mall and I didn't remember why. They
Girls,
just went.
right?
Yeah,
We always
that's
be shopping.
yeah, we always just be hanging out at the mall. But
Mhm.
Delancey, because she literally cannot talk to Chelsea without spilling the beans about her birthday thing, literally just doesn't talk to her the entire time.
It's hilarious. It's amazing
She
because, like, Chelsea will be like, "Oh, like, how do you think how do you think this looks on me?" And then Delancey will just stare and then walk away.
walk away. Yeah, there was one point where she like, I don't know, like Delancey did something for Chelsea and Chelsea was like, "Thank you." And then she just
She's like,
walks off.
"Nothing. Bye."
Yeah, so then Chelsea's like, "Okay, well what's going on with Delancey? Why is she acting all weird?" And then
Right.
who was it that said
Maybe
it was one of the other
Barbie
girls.
or
It was one of the other
Madison, who
girls that said
knows?
like, "Oh, it's because, she has a crush on Hudson." And then Delancey just had to roll with it, but
Yeah, Delancey was like, "Oh, I guess I do." And,
yeah,
like,
it's like,
what
wow,
happened to
she's
Ellis? I thought they were dating. Short-lived relationship.
yeah. The relationships get really convoluted. Well, because wait. No, it wasn't wait. Wait, it was Delancey and Who was and
Yeah,
Chelsea was with
Ellis asked
Hudson.
Delancey out.
And Chelsea's had like three different things going on because you have Tyson in Jammin in Jamaica, and then you have Brett in this movie that she's flirting with, but she also likes Hudson.
I think she only likes Hudson because people think they tell her they look good together. They're like, "Oh, like, we thought you looked great together." And she's like, "I guess we should date then." I don't know. Like, I don't think she actually liked him
To be
like
fair, though,
that.
we have no idea who Brett is either. Like
Yeah,
I mean, he's like a blank slate, so
he's just a dude.
Well, there was one point who somebody asked Chelsea, like, "Oh, like." Basically, like, "Oh, what do you see in Brett?" Or like, "Why do you like Brett?" And he's like, "Oh, because he's attractive." That was it. Like
That's it.
there was there was nothing about his character or anything. It was literally just like he is attractive. Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't.
there's a lot of convoluted relationship stuff going on. Also the fashion show, like I guess their run through of it was a fucking disaster.
What do they expect
Um,
though? It's shelter animals.
I know, and I don't know what obsession the creators of Barbie movies have with doing fashion shows involving animals because it happens so
It
often.
does.
Like, I don't know how many times there's a fashion show going on and they have to do costumes for the animals too, and it's multiple times that there's a dog and a cat and the dog chases the cat
Yep.
around and destroys everything.
It's
It's like,
funny.
why?
It's
Oh,
so
yeah,
funny.
you're
It's
right,
really
you're right.
funny.
It's so funny. I should have known.
Yeah, I don't know how much practice time they had for it, but I just don't know what you expect from it's a shelter. These aren't trained animals.
Yeah.
They're trying to go up
Yeah.
for adoption. I don't know how you're expecting them to be incredibly well behaved for a fashion show.
Yeah, it's not their fault. They're just being animals.
Yeah,
Also, maybe one of my favorite parts of the movie was, I guess Chelsea was late to the fashion show, so
right.
they were
Yeah,
like, "Well, we have to
for the
have."
practice,
Yes, for the
right?
practice, for the rehearsal.
Yeah.
And instead of just kind of letting that be, Ellis got dressed up in drag, like,
He
as
did.
Chelsea, and walked on stage. He had, like, this red wig, and, like, it was incredible. I
It
did
was
not
really good.
expect him to do
Although
that.
that was one of the moments where I thought it was River. Like
Oh,
I
me too,
like I
fully.
saw him walk along and I wrote down like, "Oh, that's River." And then I was like, "Wait a minute. Nope.
Hold up.
That is not
That's
River.
Ellis.
That's Ellis. All right, cool."
Yep, yep, I know. Without his, goatee,
He
really can't
needs
tell
it.
him apart.
He needs
Mhm,
it.
mhm. But yeah, Ellis in drag was a great, moment, a highlight for me.
Yeah. Yeah, that was good. I'm glad that they thought that would work. That would work. It's like, "I got an idea."
It's like,
She won't
yeah,
even know.
yeah, they won't be able to tell the difference.
And also it was just a rehearsal. So like
Yeah, who cares? It's fine if she's not there.
I the whole thing with the pressure around this is a little bit confusing because one, it's an animal shelter, so this isn't like some super highbrow thing, and two, it's like a
That's not like
community
high
service,
fashion.
like school helping event. Like I don't know.
Yeah, I don't quite understand what's going on with that whole arena.
Yeah,
But yeah, that happened.
yeah, and then they have the moment where Chelsea and Hudson are late because Hudson was
Oh.
being the tutor, and it's just like, where were you guys? Like, they have to be. There's something going on between them. Couldn't you
Yeah.
tell?
Yeah, one of the girls goes, "They've been flirting forever." And I'm like, "When?" Because they weren't in Jammin' in Jamaica. It was all about
Hudson had no
Tyson.
speaking, and Chelsea was only going after Tyson.
Yeah, like, how long have they been flirting? Because I ain't seen it.
Yeah,
So we get the whole fake dating trope.
yeah. Hudson
Um,
is way into it immediately.
he's like, "Yeah,
Where he's
I'll
like,
go
"Hey,
in. Can I
do
kiss
we get to
you?"
kiss for
Yeah.
that?" She's
And
like,
she's
"Nah,
like, "No."
bro." I'm like, all right.
Sorry.
Gets gets shut down. There was also after we see that, they go back to okay, what's the dish.
The
The
dish.
dish. What a
Uh-huh.
great name.
Yeah,
Um
that's their hangout spot, the little cafe or
so
something.
there's a moment where like Hudson goes in beforehand and he's talking with the rest of the crew, and then Chelsea and Brett walk in and they're chatting. And so then, the girl's like, well, like, what's going on? Like, shouldn't she like go up and like talk to her or something? Like, what's happening? And so then like Hudson goes up and he sells it hard that they're dating. And Brett has the most blank expression on his face. He's just like standing there dead eyed. And then he's like, oh, sorry about that.
Like,
And he just
bye.
leaves. Like
Yeah.
like I don't know if he's like not into he wasn't visibly upset or like
Well,
visibly sad or disappointed, or it was just like no
there's not
expression, and then
much.
like oops, sorry about that, bro, or whatever, and then just like
Yeah.
walks off.
Bye. There is not much going on in that, little head of his.
Yeah,
He's all attractive.
it's
That's
all
that's it.
looks. I mean, that's all Chelsea sees in him too.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, most of the
Oh,
time that you
yeah.
see Brett, there's just like a blank expression. There's a moment earlier on when they're all sitting at the table. No, it's like Chelsea and Hudson or something like that. And then
Mhm.
somebody was like, "Oh man, Brett over there, he's like really checking you out." And then he's kind of just like blankly staring at Chelsea from
Like,
across
is he?
and it's so obvious. It's not even like you're trying to be coy about it, trying to like sneak glances. Like it is full on
Mhm.
like blank ass stare from Brett across the
There's just
dish.
it's like a dial tone in his head.
Yeah. It's the hamster wheel, like running around in there, but then the hamster like
Mhm.
is just, like taking a break or something.
Yeah, there's nothing happening. Oh, Brett.
I want to say that was one of his only lines though, was like the "oh, sorry about that." I don't think he really talked like ever.
Not really. He
He was just
talked more
kind
than
of
Kenzie did.
he did because Kenzie didn't talk at all. But
Yeah. Um,
yeah,
Also, I got really
I
excited. Well, I thought they were drinking bubble tea at the dish,
oh
but
yeah,
it was not. It was like I think it was coffee with like chunks of I don't know
each
in
of them
it.
had 4 distinct chunks of what looked like chocolate in there. I couldn't
Yeah.
figure out what that was either. It kind of looked like a chocolate shake with like 4 chocolate chips or something.
Delicious.
I don't know.
They
Yeah,
all
I
got
couldn't
the
figure
same
out.
thing.
Yeah, they all got the exact same thing and they each had 4 chunks in there. I did check
It
though.
must
The
have been
chunks were in
good.
different locations. They didn't have like carbon copy identical drinks.
Oh,
The chocolate chunks were
yeah,
like
I'll
in
give them
slightly
that.
different locations. So they put in some
They
effort
tried.
to
Uh-huh.
make sure that they all look different there.
Oh, and we get a really good acronym, I think, from Madison.
Oh yeah.
She's talking about Chelsea and Hudson, and she goes, "You guys are MFEO, made for each other."
She really had to
Nobody has
think about
ever
that
said
one.
that.
Well,
Uh-huh.
now one person said it, and I also think
Yeah, and
nobody has said it
it's
since June 2004.
no, you're wrong because I've heard it in other Barbie movies.
Wait, are you serious?
Yes.
What movie?
Listen for it. It comes back. I'm pretty sure I remember it in Barbie Mermaidia because I've seen that one a million fucking times. I think one of
Really?
the little fairies says it. Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna be all over that
So
when we hear it again because
yeah,
to me
look
that was the
forward
first
to
time that I've
that.
heard this. That was the first time that I
It
heard
rang a
that.
bell for me. I was like, yeah, this is in another, at least one other Barbie movie. Probably written by the same person. Elise
Probably. I feel
Allen
like
wrote
I mean
wrote a
it's the
lot of the new
same
old
same
ones.
company. It's probably a lot of the same people. Especially because
Mm-hmm.
if you ever take a look at the Barbie release calendar, they go hard. So I wouldn't be
Uh-huh.
surprised if it was the same person. You know, they work for like 5 years on these things and they've produced like 12 movies.
Mm-hmm.
So it's probably a lot of
Probably
the
all
same
start
same
blending
writers.
together.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Also like the moment when they were all like chatting on the phone and they kept on adding people to the call. And
Uh-huh.
then yeah, what they call Chelsea at the end, right? And
Yes.
Chelsea wasn't at all surprised that there was like a whole group of people on the line.
It's like,
It was
oh, hey
like, "Oh, hey
guys.
Barbie, what's up?" And then everybody starts talking. She's like, "Oh, hey guys." Like
I know, I loved
wouldn't you be
that.
at least a little bit surprised that just everybody is on the line at the same time? And then the question is like,
Oh,
"Okay, like
hello.
what were you guys talking about before you called me? Like why have I been like added to the group later? Like what's going on
Oh,
here?"
yeah, you guys talking shit?
Yeah.
I think Delancey almost spills it again.
There was multiple times. It it
Keep
it
it
got
together, girl.
it got very annoying, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm trying to remember. So, yeah, so everybody thinks Hudson and Chelsea are dating. They're not. And then Chelsea thinks Delancey likes Hudson.
Yep.
It's like really stupid. And then it all comes out. I think Delancey overhears.
Yeah,
Um,
so Hudson he was trying to like tell the truth. He was like, "Okay, I'm done with this," but he couldn't get it out because they kept like talking over him and basically just like put words in his mouth and then just like pushed him out the
that's
door.
right.
And so then
Yeah, and he just was like,
yeah,
what
he said, "What
happened?"
happened?" So then he calls Chelsea and you know, he's basically like, "Yeah, you should just tell them that you're not good at math." And like this
Yeah.
is really stupid. And then it gets overheard and then the entire friend group
Mhm.
knows.
Yep, yep. Delancey overhears and then tells everybody. And then Noli comes in and talks to Chelsea, and she's like, "Why didn't you tell me? Like, I'm a math genius over here. I could have helped you." I don't love that Noli, who's the only Asian character, is the one who's really good at math.
Yeah,
There's that little stereotype in there,
guess
but
so. Yeah.
oh, she's really helpful here, and she helps Chelsea by telling her that, "Wow, look at your fashion. You use geometry all the time when you make your clothes and your costumes, and you just don't know." And so there's this great like little montage where Chelsea's learning math and making fashion, and they're setting up for the fashion show.
I actually really did like that scene because I feel
Me
like that's
too.
actually like an important lesson because sometimes for the audience that is watching this movie most of the time, it's kids, right? And they're going to school, and sometimes it's really hard to see any sort of real world uses for the crap that you're learning in
Yeah, so
school. So I
true.
appreciate it because that makes it a lot easier if you can like tie it to things in your own life and
Mhm.
actually understand how it's used for like something that you're interested in. It's a lot easier to learn things. So I appreciated that because they could have easily gone the direction of like, oh, Noli's really smart at math, so she can just help you cram, and then
Yeah.
you pass the test at the end. But then they went with the route of like, oh, we can tie this to the costumes. So
Like,
I I
you
I, I
already
like that
have
access.
I do too. Like, she already has the math inside her.
She just has
It's
to
there
know
all
that it's in
along.
there.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked the real world usage of geometry. Um, Appreciated that she learned it through something that she loved. And I think you're right, it is a good lesson for kids to get.
Yeah. So I think that was kind of my favorite part of the arc. I felt like that really it really tied up a nice bow on Chelsea's arc through this.
Yeah, now she feels confident about her abilities in both math and fashion. And she can talk to her friends about it and be vulnerable with them. So it's great. We love
Yeah.
to see it.
Although she's not the only one in the friend group to struggle with math. There was a point early on when like the math teacher walked into the dish and Madison
Oh
was
yeah.
like, "What, teacher alert or something?"
Oh, she says math teacher dead ahead.
Math teacher dead ahead. Like that comes up. We just
Uh-huh.
see the math teacher all the time. Um,
Yeah, I want to know more about does the math teacher have a wiki?
maybe. Did he have a name?
No, unless it's on the DVD case and I didn't see it.
I don't think he's on here, unfortunately.
Oh, it's too bad.
But yeah, it's not just Chelsea that struggles.
Mm-hmm.
Madison also struggles. So once all that comes out, she originally wasn't going to be able to participate because she had all this other stuff going on, but she is able to. She makes all of the costumes, and then
Impressive.
luckily, after what, a week, all the animals are now really trained and are able to
Yeah,
do the runway show incredibly easily, and it's all fine
they're
and
perfect little
mission
models.
accomplished.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. I do love the costumes that Chelsea designed. We have Barbie in this great little Sherlock number.
Yeah,
Um,
they did nice
and
theming
there
with
was,
that.
yeah, the people would match the animals and
You
stuff.
had
It was
like
fun.
Sutton in like the
He was
fireman's
a
outfit with.
vampire.
Oh, was he a vampire? Who
Wait,
was in the
oh,
fireman outfit?
somebody was a vampire.
Someone was a
I don't
vampire and
know.
someone was a fireman outfit, but the fireman outfit you had like the fire dog as well,
Yeah, there
which was
was
fun. I like
a
the
Captain Hook. I think Ellis was Captain Hook.
okay.
Um,
There's so many characters.
yeah, I know. I got confused, and when they're all in different outfits, I'm just like, I don't know who's who.
Yeah, which one's Kenzie? Is Tyson here?
Kenzie was the one in the rollerblades.
Oh, okay, she was the one in the rollerblades. That was her whole
Uh-huh.
thing.
Uh-huh. Yeah, we got a mermaid, got Cinderella, got a boxer, a rock star, got all these different great costumes.
Yep,
Um, there was some great jazzy music going on in the background
there
too.
was. Yeah. And
Not as
then
many standout songs in this one
there really
as
isn't.
Jammin' in
I feel
Jamaica.
like Urban Desire carried the last movie in
Mm-hmm.
terms of like the musical tracks.
Yeah.
And even the other tracks that weren't Urban Desire were pretty solid. But this one really didn't have too many of them, especially not like vocal tracks.
Yeah, there was one song, the song where they were on their shopping montage. I wrote down one of the lines because it was calling all girlfriends, which I liked.
Calling them all, hit them all up, get them on
Yep.
that group call.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it kind of ends. Oh, my tag was Madison in the cat outfit. I love me some cats, and
Oh,
I felt
nice.
like for the most part there were a couple of cat representations, but for the most part I felt like it, as it usually does. I feel like it focuses more on the dogs. There were a
Mm-hmm.
couple of cats at the
Oh,
end, so I appreciated the cat representation
oh, for sure.
at the end of the show.
Yeah, agreed. And like Delancey, she was dressed as a genie, I think, and she did um a magic trick with a cat where it just like appeared in her arms. Like she straight up
God
did
tier.
magic. Yeah. I'm like, whoa. Was not expecting that. Um yeah, my tag is in the scene too. I'm whoever was dressed up as a vampire. I
Okay.
loved that look. Yeah. It was great. Very dramatic. I would have gone all out as a vampire.
Yeah. Yeah, so the costumes were nice, and the animals were finally behaved.
Thank
Somehow they
God.
trained,
Yeah.
and then we go back for the final little bit for Chelsea's birthday. They go back up to the super nice pad. Yeah, and I don't know how many friends they have, but they go back to the pad and it is packed with people. Like it looks like the entire high school is there. I don't know if they just straight up invited the entire school or they just know everybody. Did they invite
Yeah.
everybody from the runway show to this party? I don't know. It was a ton of
Yeah.
people
Are
though.
they all they could all be fans of like Urban Desire and stuff
Could be,
too.
even though Urban Desire has absolutely no presence in this movie. Did they
Well,
get the record
does
deal? I don't
Sutton.
know.
Oh, yeah, I'm
Sutton
curious.
did do
I thought
DJing, so that was the
okay,
closest.
okay. I
That
thought
was
I
the
saw
closest they
him.
got. But even then, like the DJing is kind of separate from Urban Desire. I feel because when
Yeah,
you can do a solo DJ set
true.
without being part of Urban Desire, like without being part of
Mhm.
the band. Um, but yeah, the party is rocking.
Oh, yeah. It's it's wild. It's
Yeah.
a crazy party.
And
I
then
wish I could go.
Hudson is trying to be like, hey, you should go. Brett's right over there. You should go and chat with him. I think he's really into you. And then Chelsea's like, oh, do you want to dance? To Hudson.
Mhm.
It's like,
Yeah, she's like,
okay.
"Our friends think we look good together, so I
why
guess
don't
we should
why don't we
date."
try this? Why not? Very
Yep.
enthusiastic.
And then they cheers. Here's to us.
Can anybody spike that?
Definitely.
Getting absolutely trashed at Chelsea's Sweet 16.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. I mean, like, there's a scene where Delancey and Chelsea are like dancing together, and they're like all over each other, and it looks kind of like they're sloshed. So, like, this is a
No
great
supervision at
party.
this party. I think Madison's dad was just like, "Hey, free reign to this entire fucking loft. Here you go."
Yeah, go off, kids.
And
Yep.
that's how the movie wraps up. I still
Hmm.
question why it was called Masquerade Madness. It was not a masquerade party at all, but
No, it really wasn't.
oh well. Yeah, I did not remember much of this movie. It's a short movie, so there's a lot less substance here, really.
Uh-huh.
Like I don't know. Looking back at Jammin' in Jamaica, I feel like one, there's more going on because it's a longer movie, but I don't know. I felt like it had one cohesive like plot point that moved the entire thing forward. One, you
Yeah.
had Urban Desire. I actually liked their music, so that helped it. But I felt like it was one driving story beat that kind of kept the thing going. Like you had, Barbie and River and their thing, but that was also tied to Urban Desire and to this competition, and so it kind of
Yeah,
felt
and
like
like
it was
Barbie's
moving the plot
jealousy.
forward. But
Hmm.
here it feels like it's a 23-minute movie, and they try and pack two basically separate plot lines loosely connected into one movie, because the technically they're connected in the sense that they use the same costumes from the runway show in the party, but they're
Hmm.
not really it's like they didn't have enough content for even a 23-minute movie with just the birthday or just the runway show, and so they had to cram it together, and I don't know if it really worked super well. Like, they're
Yeah, I
fine by
wish
themselves,
they
but they don't connect really at all.
Yeah, I wish they focused on one, like either the birthday thing or the fashion show thing or the I guess the math thing could be tied to the fashion show. Like just get rid of the whole birthday thing. We don't need that.
Yeah.
Just do the fashion show and then Chelsea's whole like I'm not good at math and her whole arc there. That would have been great.
Yeah,
That's all you
because
need.
yeah, the only thing the birthday thing added was Delancey's thing, and that was all stupid of like, because
Yeah, that
she
was
couldn't tell Chelsea about the birthday, so then there was the added weird conflict with Hudson. But if they really wanted to do that, I felt like they could have done that in another way.
yeah, it was unnecessary.
Um yeah, so I don't think it all worked together very well. I appreciated seeing Hudson at all. It was
Me
really
too.
weird that he
Yeah.
basically had like 2 or 3 lines in the first movie. So I appreciated seeing him at all. I think that to me, in terms of like my scene movies, was kind of one of the highlights, is just like seeing what his character is, because I had no
Yeah.
idea who he was.
Mhm.
So I mean, I like that, but beyond that, I feel like this movie's quite throwaway.
Yeah.
Like
That's why we don't
I would
remember it.
willingly go back and watch Jammin in Jamaica again. Like, I go back, I'd listen to the music, I'd watch it
I
again.
mean,
I don't
you're
think
Urban Desire's number one fan.
I am, but I don't think I would ever watch Masquerade Madness again, really, unless I was like going through all the movies again, like we're doing now, and watching them. I don't think I
Mhm.
would pick to watch that. I would pick Jammin in Jamaica every single time.
Yeah, there's some good moments for sure, but yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
It's got too much going on. They tried to cram too much into it.
for what is an incredibly short a
Yeah, maybe
TV episode.
if it was like as long as Jammin' in Jamaica or the Hollywood one, then yeah, maybe that would have worked. But I think they tried to fit too much into like a 20-minute
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah, I felt like they could have done a lot more with, if they wanted to do just the runway thing, because we get the one scene of them trying to do the rehearsal, and then by the end all the animals are perfect. Like, I felt like they could have done a lot more with, practicing with the animals, or like getting that set up, and there probably could
Mhm.
be some like conflict in there of, I don't know, who wants to do a certain costume thing, or animals, or I don't know. Like, I feel like
Yeah.
they could have done a lot more with that. But then they decided to have Chelsea's birthday in there, and then they also felt like it had to be this short.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Decisions were made and they
Yeah.
were not the best decisions.
Yeah, so I don't yeah, this one was, see, it's hard because I feel like this is also, so far this is the low point of the movies. We're on episode 6 here, and I feel like so far this is like the low point, but it's also short. Like,
Mhm.
I think to Swan Lake, and that one was super forgettable, and it was also long. And I feel like
Yeah.
there's something to be said about Masquerade Madness. At least it was short, because
It's
if this was,
mercifully short.
well, yeah, like if it was a lot longer, I feel like it'd be more painful,
Oh,
but
for
it's
sure.
not. It's way shorter. So
Yeah.
I think it's actually 28 minutes, not 23,
Oh,
um
okay. More
but
like 30
yeah,
minutes.
because I'm thinking here trying to grade it. And
Mhm.
if it was as long as Jammin' in Jamaica or longer, I feel like I give it an F.
Mm. But since it's shorter, you
But
wanna
since
give it
it's,
a D?
yeah, I don't know, I'm struggling. What was your thought on the grading here?
I gave it a D,
Okay.
because I liked the stuff about I liked Chelsea's arc, and I thought there were some funny moments. Um, it was entertaining, but also so much was crammed into it. Um, yeah, yeah. So I gave it a D, but I could also be persuaded to flunk it, like
Yeah.
Chelsea's original math grades.
Yeah. Yeah. I think with it, but is that a reason to give it a D? That seems like a kind of a cop out. It's like, oh, it's
Hmm.
short, so it's a D. If it was
Yeah.
a longer movie, I would definitely give it an F. Like if this storyline was
Yeah.
stretched out super long, I think I would give it
Well,
an F. But
should this be
but
our
I
first F, or do you want to go D?
it just maybe in my mind it feels wrong because we also gave Jammin' in Jamaica a D, and I do not put
Oh
Jammin' in
yeah.
Jamaica and Masquerade Madness on the same level. I just
Uh-huh.
don't.
Yeah.
Like if Jammin' in Jamaica was a C, then I'd be more in agreement to give Masquerade Madness a D, but I just don't. I don't know
Okay,
about you,
do
but I
you
do not
but
see Jammin' in Jamaica and Masquerade Madness at the same level.
what if we introduce the E? Do you think it's an E?
If we introduce an E, I could put it at the E.
Okay, this might be an E
All
movie.
right.
It's not quite an F, but it's not as good as Jammin' in Jamaica, so
It isn't. Yeah. This maybe the first time that we are promoting this, but on Tier Maker, the website, we have a tier maker list up that you can put your own rankings in for the Barbie movies that we watch. So it'll be the same system that we're using now that we've introduced E. It'll be on an A to F, S to F scale with E also introduced there. So you can do your own rankings and see if you agree with our rankings or if yours are a
yeah.
little bit different than what we pick.
Hmm.
But I can agree with an E.
All right, all right.
Now
Then
I'm just
E it
trying to think
is.
what Barbie movie is going to constitute an F.
Oh yeah, it's gotta be pretty bad.
Actually, I do know it is. The My Scenes
Oh.
webisodes. Those are
Oh yeah.
definitely mega F tier from what
Yeah,
I've
we gotta
seen.
save F for that.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to like I yeah, nothing comes to mind specifically as like full on like F tier Barbie movie, but maybe there will be
I'm
one.
sure we'll
Maybe
find
there will be
one.
some.
Yeah.
All right, so
It'll
our
happen.
ranking for Masquerade Madness is an E.
E. Yep.
Just slightly above F. If
Hmm.
it was a little longer, I think it'd be worse, but mercifully it ended earlier.
Skated by with an E.
Yeah. And that is Masquerade Madness. And that is also the My Scene movies for at least a couple of months. So we've got a couple of Barbie movies to get back to. On next month's episode, we're going to be talking about Barbie as the Princess and the Pauper.
Oh, a
Very
classic.
excited for that one. A Barbie classic. And then we've also got Barbie Fairytopia, another classic on the
Yes.
docket. Before we get back to our final couple of My Scene movies, we'll have My Scene Goes Hollywood as well as the My Scene web series that we're gonna cover as well.
Yeah, we need a break from the Mycene
We do,
movies.
and luckily we do. Luckily there is a break in the chronology of these movies.
Thank God.
Yeah, I could go for a little bit of a break before we get into the last bit of My Scene. I had fun with Jammin' in Jamaica, but a little bit less so with Masquerade
Hmm.
Madness.
Yeah, I'm a little afraid for what the Hollywood one has in
Yeah,
store.
because I don't think I've ever seen it.
I have a weird memory of seeing it.
Okay. Maybe it'll come back to me. Masquerade Madness did
Yeah.
not at all. So
Yeah.
we'll see. But yeah, that one's a
Hmm.
full length movie. We'll get to see if they've got enough content to jam into full feature length movie.
Yeah.
But you'll have to wait
I'm
and see, because
doubtful.
next month we will be covering a Barbie as the Princess and the Pauper. So get excited for that as we're diving back into Barbie movies after our
Woo.
little My Scene break. But that's going to do it for us on this month's episode of Barbie, the Princess and the Podcast. We're here on the first Monday of every single month. We have an audio version of the podcast. You can catch that on any podcast streaming service that you may use, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anything else. It'll be on there for you. We also have a video version of the podcast that goes up at the same time as the audio version. That's at The Princess and the Podcast on YouTube. So if you want to check out the video version, that is there for you to check out.
And then if you want to follow our podcast on social media, we're at The Princess and the Podcast on Instagram and at Barbie Podcast on whatever Twitter has become. And our email is theprincessandthepodcast@gmail.com. If you want to follow me, Brianna, I am at Brianna Valline. That's BriannaVallene on both Instagram and Twitter.
Twitter's easier to say.
Yeah.
I'm also on Twitter at Kevin Valline, so you can catch me there. So until next month when we get into Barbie as the Princess and the Pauper. Peace.